Well, the next thing I want to talk about here is I want to give you guys. So last week we talked about Apple and Google's contact tracing, and I just want to give you guys an update on some stories I found about that. Now I'm not entirely sure if senior codes. Remember last week we were talking about what contract tracing does that Google and Apple proposed. Is it privacy invasive or is it privacy safe, et cetera, et cetera? I certainly had a lot of criticisms towards it. I know Big Chungus had some reservations about it. Uh, just to quickly recap, what was your opinion about it?
So what was my opinion on that?
Yeah, what I said last week. What was your overall opinion of what they're trying to do? I guess.
I mean, I think I'm not sure if it was cut from the episode because I went back and just made sure that the first part that I was talking about was clean. I didn't watch the entire thing, but what I said was that I think it's just funny how the company that is known for its tight security is pairing with the company that really uses all your data for whatever, and kind of gives it to whoever and takes it from whoever. So
Yeah.
um, I thought that was pretty funny. I do admire their effort to help slow and like combat coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
but other than that, their approach, I'm not an expert of Bluetooth. I'm not an expert in the health field.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm only slightly good at um, path finding algorithms, and it doesn't seem like a
Yeah.
path finding algorithm. It seems just
It's
more
not an
like
AI problem, right? That's what pathfinding algorithms are for. Just to clarify there.
yeah, it's not that. So it seems good. I mean, I'm happy they're doing it. Will it actually work in practice? We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think it's going to work just simply because America is full of people who are out protesting right now, trying to go back to work with no mask, no PPE,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really care. And then there's the other people who are staying in their house. When they go out, they wear gloves, they wear masks,
Mm-hmm.
and those people will get the app and they will be compliant and actually try to help. But like I said, if there's not everybody on board like South Korea had,
Mm-hmm.
then there's kind of no point. But
Yeah, so this would give you guys a quick update on that. So my opinion was, I think what Apple and Google did respected privacy, but I think they could go further by allowing embedded location data or location sharing, not location tracing, in their API, the framework they built. And I wanted to go over more details about that, but I don't think the format, the time slot I have will do that justice. So I will say this. I will just give you guys an update on this. So far, and I'm not entirely sure, senior coach, if they've released it to their operating system yet. I think they're going to do it this week or next week. Embed the API framework in their operating system. But so far, only 4 out of the 50 states have indicated they are willing to use the API framework that Apple and Google provided.
well,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's abysmally low, to say the least. The problem here is that, from what I can gather, and this goes back to the whole location data thing, Google and Apple's API framework is just quite limited for what health authority officials are looking for. They want to know where the virus is frequently populated, and Google and Apple are unwilling to go the extra mile to embed that information in their framework, and even expanded upon that. Google and Apple, or Apple and Google, I should say, this is always framed this way, are unwilling to allow apps that use location tracking or location sharing to work with their API framework. And so public healthcare officials, I believe, in my opinion, are just forced to look elsewhere for other technologies that allows them to gather the data they need, and presumably, I guess that I don't disbelieve that, at least within the U.S., health public healthcare authorities are not going to use your data for nefarious means. But yeah, since they're not allowed to get the information, all the information they need. There's such a low adoption rate among public authorities utilizing this technology. Not to mention, according to one article I read, you need about 63% adoption of the entire country utilizing any contact tracing app for it to effectively work.
And that's the same app, the exact same app.
Exactly. That's the senior coach. You have you're on point on this. They have to use the exact same app. So if we have different public authorities making different apps across different states, across different municipalities and stuff, I doubt that this is going to be effective at all. And someone on CNBC agrees with me on this point. They think it's a failure waiting to happen. So my opinion on this is that regular lockdowns don't work. They're not working they can work, but they're not working in the U.S. because of the reasons you laid out about people not necessarily following them and stuff. With what Google and Apple are doing, it's appearing it's not working. Should they consider removing it? Should they consider waiting it out? I mean, what's your opinion about this, Senior Codes?
I mean, I really think that, and I was kind of looking up a couple of examples, but I think that in the end, this virus is kind of like it's kind of showing the strengths of a country, right? If a country can act as a unit and come together, then they're doing well. Look at South Korea, look at Japan, look at China. They come together. Look at America though. America is a cultural mosaic, right? You have all these different cultures, all these different communities, you have all these different opinions, and the government is ran by people who are fighting. So I'll just say that with the current administration, the Trump administration, I'll say that there doesn't seem to be a lot of consistency or like a lot of agreement with like the entire branches of the government. So like whether you support the president or not, having that discombobulation and that disagreement is not good. And also having a cultural mosaic as the structure of our country is not good. So this adoption it really shows how disconnected this country is. And then, either we're going to get the second wave and suffer, or we're going to just bet our money that we're good and it's going to be good. So,
yeah, I just think that, maybe I was a bit optimistic about technology solving some of the, I guess, fundamental problems in the U.S. we seem to be experiencing here. There's a battle between we have to stop the spread of this virus and we have to preserve privacy. And my personal thoughts on this is that I'm all for privacy. I'm also all for stopping the virus and stuff. And I think there's a balance to be made here, but I just don't know, Senior Codes, because I really feel that Apple and Google should have went to the administration and then also privacy advocates as well, and had a frank discussion of what they wanted to do and how they wanted to roll out this technology. Because just making the framework and just saying let anyone use it, I just think that was a poor decision that I guess predictably led to a lot of fragmentation and not a lot of use.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to exactly what I was saying. I mean, like if everything was a unit and everything worked together, like I think one thing that I do give China is that their government can literally just step into a company, kind of like how we did with the Defense Production Act, of like, hey, you guys just need to make this now. Whatever you're doing, stop it. Just make these. Like, if the government were to say, look, Apple, Google, we need you guys to make the app that everybody can use, that it's government supported, that it's, you know, people who like security, people who don't like security, everybody's okay with it. Find the middle ground. That's a hard problem. Yeah, if they got together and gave it one singular app, sort of like how I think South Korea did it, where they were just like, this is the app that everybody needs to get. If you want to get on a train, you got to scan your app. You got to make sure that you take your temperature. You got a X, Y, like a checklist of stuff on like a single app.
Yeah.
If the U.S. government did that, and then maybe we have a better chance of Apple and Google just saying, here's the framework. You guys can just do whatever you want with it. And at that point, it's like they're like kind of just half-assing the problem. I mean,
indeed, yeah, they're not. Yeah, I think we agree on this. I think that you can preserve. I think you can fundamentally preserve privacy, and I think what Apple and Google were trying to do here. I just feel that they were shooting them. They were working with one hand tied behind their back, and I don't think they realized that. You know, it's not enough to just make a framework and let's say let everyone, you know, make a framework, have everyone who wants to use it. No, I think they should have deliberately worked with the government, either all of the state governments if they wanted to, or just the federal government, you know, and also privacy advocates to alleviate some concerns about government invading your data and stuff. And then come up with a cohesive app, like a cohesive unit, like you said. And I think that was something they did not either consider, or they felt that that's something that was just too big for them to tackle. Which then begs the case, why even bother with this if you realize there's going to be such a low adoption rate among users and even governments?
Yeah, but that was, you know, that's for the professionals to figure out and us to talk about.
Fair enough.